Okay, welcome back, everyone, as we have the pleasure of Baruch Shechianu V'Kimanu V'Gianu Lazman Hazeh. I don't know if the Olam remembers, it's a while ago, but I restarted saying the Daf Yomi. I was out for about 2.5 weeks. I was in the hospital, and I was out with the end of Bava Basra, and I came back to saying Daf Beis in Sanhedrin, so I thank Hashem that it's now 112 days that I'm back with you saying the Daf, and I do still need a refuah shalema, Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel, and we thank Hashem that we could learn together with such a remarkable olam. We are holding 6 lines from the top of Daf Kuf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, Kisvei HaKodesh Yuganzu. If in the Irani Dachas are holy writings, they should be hidden. Says the Gemara, Masnisna like Rebbe Eliezer. The Mishnah is not like Rebbe Eliezer, because according to Rebbe Eliezer, if there's even one mezuzah, we don't destroy the city. The mezuzah saves the city. The Tanya Rebbe Eliezer, I'm kol ir sheyesh ba afilu mezuzah achas. Even one mezuzah. Ein anasis irani dachas, it won't be an irani dachas. Shenema v'serafta be'eshes ha'ir ves kol shlala, all of its booty kolel. Be'echadika mezuzah, with his mezuzah lo yafshi, you can't destroy the whole city. Dichsiv lo yisasa kein la'Hashem elikechem, you should never burn Hashem. And since in the mezuzah there is shemus of Hashem, and this is for sure if there's a pair of tefillin in the city, and it's for sure if there's a Sefer Torah in the city. So it's very unlikely that there was ever an Irani Dachas, and that's what it says. The Gemara says there's an opinion that there was never an Irani Dachas, and it's only La'agdil Torah or La'adira. Reb Shimon Aimer Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Mishnah goes on to say that there's an argument if the city should be left totally desolate, or you're just not allowed to build it to the way it was, but you are allowed to make gardens and orchards. So, Lema b'Rabbi Avan Amar Rabbi Lo Kamiflagi. Now, one of the Yud Gimel Midos Sha'Torah Nidreshes B'hem, one of the 13 principles of derivation is Klal Uprat Ein B'Chlal Ela Mashe B'Frat. Now, there is only in the principle that which is in the specification. Now, in this case, the klal and the prat is not of the same nature, because the klal is an asay, a positive commandment, and the prat is a lois asay, is a negative. So, Dam Rabbi Avin, Am Rabbi Lo, Kol Makom She'ata Motzei Klal Ba'asay, generalization with an asay or prat b'lois asay, and a prat with a lois asay, Ein Doinen Oisei B'Chlal Ufrat. There we don't use a klal of prat. Now, over here the klal is v'hoisa tel oilam. It should be a heap forever. And then there's a prat loisi bone oid. You shouldn't rebuild it. Now, the hoisa tel oilam is a asay, a positive command. Loisi bone oid, which is more of a prat, the specification, is a negative command. So if you say klal prat by a positive and a negative, so then the klal would be, it should be a heap, but then the prat would be loisibani, you just shouldn't rebuild it. But you would be allowed to make gardens and orchards, because klal prat ain't b'chlal el mashe b'frat, only not to rebuild it. So the Marius lay the Rebbe Avin. One holds like Rebbe Avin that we don't say a klal prat when it's not of the same nature. Or Mar Lesley the Rebbe Avin says in Loy, the Kula Alma Islu the Rebbe Avin. So we wouldn't be able to say the normal klal prat, because the klal is an asay, that it should be a tel oilam, and the prat is a lav, loisabana oid. However, the question is, should we be medayik in the word oid? Mar sava oid legamrei mashma. Loisibana oid, you shouldn't build it oid anymore, means you shouldn't build it completely. U'ma'asava oid means you shouldn't build it yet again, means the kamasha haisa. You shouldn't build it to the way it was, but you are allowed to make gardens and orchards. Eina nivnis, avol nasasi ganais u'pardaisim. It can be made gardens and orchards. Tana Rabbanan. Hoyaba ilonois tlushin. If it had uprooted trees in the city, in other words, it was already prepared for lumber, asurin. That's destroyed. Mechubarim, but if it has attached trees, mutarin. Why? Because if remember we said that only that which is chaser, gathering and burning. But here it would be chaser, uprooting, gathering and burning. Shalir acheres, if the trees are in another city, bein tlushim, bein mechubarin, aser. If it was uprooted or if it was attached, it's aser. So the Gemara says, my ir acheres. What do you mean if it's in another city? It means if we're not talking about an iranidachas, if we're talking about Yerichai, Amar Rav Chisti Yerichai. In Yerichai, even trees that are attached are aser. Dichsiv ha'isa ir chayrim la'Hashem. The city should be banned to Hashem. V'yishba Yeshua ba'isa yileimar. Ora ish lifnei Hashem. Cursed is a man before Hashem. Asher yakum ubana es ir azais, who gets up and rebuilds this city. Es Yerichai. B'bechayra yiyazdena. With the death of his firstborn, he will lay its foundation. Ubetzira yatziv blaseh. And with the death of his youngest, he will set up its doors. Tanya, when you want to know about the stringencies of Yericha, lo Yericha al shem ir acheres, you can't rebuild Yericha even if you call it another name. V'lo ir acheres al shem Yericha, nor can you build a city, a different city, and call it Yericha. Dichsiv bana Chiel built Beis Eli from a accursed house, es Yericha. He built Yericha. Ba'aviram b'chayra yasta, with the death of Aviram, his firstborn, he founded it. Ubeskuv tzeira heitziv blaseh, and with Skuv, his youngest, when he died, he set up its doors. Tanya, ba'aviram b'chayra rasha, with Aviram, his bechar, who was wicked, lo haya lo lilmod. He couldn't have known. He couldn't have known that that he was being punished by building another city and calling it Yericha. He couldn't have known that. That he couldn't have known. But by the time B'schut Se'irai, by the time Skuv, his youngest, died, Hayaloi Lilmaid. What the Gemara is saying is that when Chiel died, he couldn't have figured it out. But when he lost all his children, he should have realized that Yeshua's curse applied to this as well. Says the Gemara, Aviram Skuv my Ovid. What did Aviram and Skuv do that they should be considered a Rasha? Says the Gemara, no, they weren't a Rasha. Hakikama, but Aviram b'chayai, when Aviram, his first son, died, his firstborn died, Hayaloi lilmud la'isa Rasha b'skuv tze'irai. When Aviram, his firstborn, died, this wicked Chiel should have figured out already what was going to happen to Skuv, his firstborn. In other words, when Aviram died, he should have already got a glimpse of what's happening, and he should have changed the name of the city. It doesn't belong to. When it says to Rashi, it doesn't belong to Aviram. It's not saying that Aviram was wicked, but as his children started to die, one after another, as he built his city, he should have figured out that Skuv, his son, would die when he sets up the doors. If he only had 2 children, then why does it say Skuv was his youngest? If he only had 2 children, that Skuv was his youngest, it means that he had other children, and they kept on dying. From Aviram through all his children until he buried his youngest child. Now, we're going to get into the story now of Eliyahu Hanavi cursing the world with a drought. This is a very sorry situation. Achav Shishbina Hava. Achav was a best friend of Chil. Asa Iyuv Eliyahu Lemishal B'Shloima Beit Tamya. He and Eliyahu came to B'Menachem Ovel at the house of mourning. Beit Tamya is a lashon of a house of mourning. Some say that the correct Gersa is Beit Taima, the house where they come to console and talk about a reason or why it happened. So Yosef Ikamar, so Achav was sitting, and he said, Dilma ki meilet Yeshua, maybe when Yeshua cursed, Hachilot, he cursed that lo Yerichai al Shem Iracheres, that Yerichai shouldn't be called by another name, v'lo Iracheres al Shem Yerichai, you shouldn't call another city by the name Yerichai. And that's why this is happening. Maybe. Amalei Eliyahu, so Eliyahu said yes, you're right. That's the way it is. That you, all these things happen to you because you called another city by the name Yerichai. Says so Achav said blasphemy now to Eliyahu. Amalei hashta levotza de Moshe lo kamekaima. The curse of Moshe Rabbeinu was not fulfilled. Look what we say in Kriya Shema. V'sartem v'avadetem eliyim acherim v'ishtachavisa l'mehem v'chora af Hashem b'chem v'atzaras hashemayim. If you worship other gods, Hashem will close the heavens. Dichsiv v'sartem v'avadetem eliyim acherim. If you turn away from me and you worship other gods, I'm going to get angry. V'ksiv v'chora af Hashem b'chem v'atzaras hashemayim. I'll close the heavens. Now Achav said about himself, I'll tell him. This man made gods on every furrow. Remember, we learned that Achav made idols by every furrow so that when they bent down and worked in the field, they would have to bow down to the gods. And there's so much rain that people can't bow down. So obviously, the klal of Moshe Rabbeinu, that if you make idols, it won't rain, wasn't upheld. And Rabbi said, I will tell you that there are people that talk this way today. They say, it says that that seva is shtika yafa b'shas hatfila. Old age it's good to be quiet in shul. Yet I see old people talking. People talk this way. So that's why we're taught al tisyoyish min ha-peronias. Don't be miyayish from peronias. Hashem keeps score. Kala aymer HaKadosh Baruch Hu vatrinu. It's not safe. Don't say that Hashem is mavater. So if Hashem didn't keep the curse of Moshe levatzad Yeshua Talmidei Mekayma, the curse of Yeshua you think is kept, so this is not the reason why your children are dying. Uh-oh. Miyad v'yomer Eliyahu Tishbi M'Tishvi Agilad Chai Hashem Elikei Yisrael, by the life of Hashem, Im Yiyah Talu Mater, if there's going to be dew and rain, if not for my say-so. And Boi Rachmei, Eliyahu prayed, V'havalei aklida the mitra, Hashem gave him the keys to the rain. V'kam v'azal, and he got up, and there came a serious drought and a terrible famine. Vayidva Hashem elav lema, and Hashem spoke to Eliyahu, Lech mizeh, go and leave from here, Ofanisa lecha kedma, go to the east, v'nistarta menachal Chris, and stay by the river of Chris, and don't worry about food, va'orvim, and the ravens, mavim loy lechem abasa babayker, ravens will bring you bread and meat every morning. Mehecha, where they bring the meat, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rab, mebei tapchei da'achav, from Achav's butchers. And even though normally he wouldn't have eaten by Achav's bitches, but if Hashem brought it to him, so he could trust Hashem's kashrus. Now, Vayi miketz yamim, after a year, Vayivesh hanachal, the brook dried up. Kilayah geshem ba'aretz, there wasn't a drop of water. Kevin the ikar chaza tzara ba'alma, when Hashem saw that there was suffering in the world, ksiv vayidva Hashem elav lemar kum lech tzefarta. Tzarfasa. Go to Tzarfas, and that's where he met the woman whose child died that he brought back to life. The son of the woman died. So Eliyahu asked for mercy to give him the key of the resurrection. So Hashem said, normally I don't give 3 keys, Shel Chai, the key of birth, V'shel Geshamim, and of rain, V'shel Tchias HaMesim. Now, I could never have 2/3 in the hands of a human. V'amru shtayim biyad Talmud v'achas biyad Arav. Yomru, they're going to say 2 of the keys is by that Talmud and 1 of the keys is by the Rebbe. Aisuha, give me back the key of rain, Ushkilai, and I'll give you the key of resurrection. Dichsiv leichei roel achav ve'et nemacha. And he said, go and appear to Achav, and I will give rain. Now, I will, because he took the key away from Eliyahu. Darash ha'u glila kamei de Rav Chisda, Mashal de Eliyahu l'ma Davidayma. What can this be compared to? Legavra de tarke legale, to a man who locked the door, and v'avdei l'miftache, and he lost the key. Here also, Eliyahu locked the door of the rain. He was planning to open it up, but he lost the key. Hashem took the key back. Darish Rabbi Yaisi Tzipurei, Rabbi Yaisi taught in Tzipurei, Abba Eliyahu, Abba is a term of respect. Abba Eliyahu, the father Eliyahu, Captain Abba. He got angry easy, because he got angry at Achav for what Achav said, that Hashem doesn't fulfill what he said, that if you make idols there won't be rain. And he brought suffering to the world. Now, who said this? The statement was made by Rabbi Yaisi. Now, Rabbi Yaisi would regularly have Gilu Eliyahu. Have a ragul meisib gabei. Eliyahu would come to him every day. Ichse minei tlasa yoimei. He stayed away from him 3 days. V'layasa. Ki asa, when Eliyahu came, Amalei amai lo yasamar. Why didn't you come the last 3 days? Amalei captain curiously, because you said about me that I'm a captain. Yeah, I'm a person that's easily offended. Amalei, so he says, here's the proof. How to come on? The kakapad mar, you got makbid and you didn't come for 3 days. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we'll stop here. We're going to leave this little piece for Thursday morning, when we will put a siyum on Zoom at approximately 8:15 in the morning, Thursday morning, for those that need the siyum on Zoom. I will also tell you that tomorrow we will begin Be'ezus Hashem Makis. You know, if you have a yeshiva boy at home, it's a great thing to tell him that while during Bein Zmanim he could review Gantz Masechtas Makis. He'll say he learned Makis. Okay, good, he learned Makis. We can review the whole Masechtas Makis with us. And if anybody you know he said, I never finished the Masechta. Well, if he joins us over Yom Tov, he'll finish the Masechta. We are looking for a sponsor. We need to hear from them before tomorrow that they could get the full Masechtas Makis. 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.
Should I wear my suit of armor?
100%.
I need my suit of armor when we start Makos, or am I good to go?
For sure, a suit of armor. But
Okay.
I'll find the holes.
I'll face backwards. It'll be easier to hit.
No, you have to face like a man.
That's what I'll be doing. Good night.
Have a good evening, everyone.